GM. So, trade of the day, I'm going to look at Jupiter, which is the big launch coming on Solana. Jupiter is expected to launch around 0.66, so 66 cents. That would put it at a fully diluted valuation of 6.6 billion. The circulating supply, I think, is going to be 1.5 billion at launch. So this would, at 66 cents, it would put it at pretty much bang on a billion of floating circulating. So Jupiter, if you know, is a DEX, so a decentralized exchange aggregator on Solana. Very good product. The most used, the highest volume across all the Solana ecosystem, and is very much a hyped up launch. So what you want to look at here is, how does capital flow? There's a big airdrop coming today for Jupiter, people who are using it. I don't even know what the criteria is. People keep asking me, do I get the airdrop? I guess so. I've used Jupiter, maybe I get some, but I haven't been farming it. So my focus is not about getting my farmed coins or my airdrop, whatever. It's just to trade the hype around the launch. It launches at 4 p.m. UTC. So it's launching over here in about, what is that now? It's in about 6 hours. So here we are right now. We're at 9 a.m. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, about 6 hours or so. And in the lead up to that, we've seen Solana do quite well, right? So Solana's rising up, heading into the Jupe airdrop, because before Jupe launches, there's no way to speculate on it. So people will bid up Solana in anticipation of more hype and essentially more eyeballs coming into the Solana ecosystem. I think a lot of people are trying to guess and trying to, estimate how big is it going to be, what's the price action going to be like, what are other coins going to do. My really simple logic for this is that Jupiter's going to suck all the attention away from Solana altcoins. So Solana itself will do quite well for a few reasons. If you get Jupe and you want to dump your Jupe, you're going to dump it back into Sol or USDC. So if people dump their Jupiter airdrop, it's going to boost Solana, assuming they don't all dump into USDC, right? So you should see, if anything, Solana doing quite well. It doesn't have to do well today, and it's obviously already ran up in anticipation. So a lot of this could be front running. People are saying, oh, people will dump their Jupe next week for Solana, therefore I'm going to bid Solana. So we might have already seen that move happen. I would expect that most of that move has happened. I don't expect Solana to moon today, but I think Solana will eventually absorb a lot of that Jupiter selling, and it will be decent, pretty decent for Solana itself. The thing that will really struggle, in my opinion, are the Solana meme coins. Right, you got Bonk, which is just weak and just has been weak ever since its top. You've got Whiff, Dog with Hat, weak, right? And the launch level, the pivot, you can see here how well that acted as a pivot. We were above it, it was holding well. We deviated above it there, lost it, retested it. So Whiff is weak. What else? You've got Helium, which is a Solana altcoin. Helium actually one of the stronger ones. Helium's looking nice there, so I would say Helium's one of the better Solana alts. You've got Honey, which is Hive Mapper, weak. Since it's a Coinbase launch, it's been down only. For all those people that thought the Coinbase launch was somehow bullish for Honey, yeah, well, there you go. Coinbase launches don't tend to be bullish, at least in the short term. You've got Pith, right? Pith, actually doing pretty well. Pith is one of the stronger ones, so that's Pith and Helium that are looking pretty decent. You got Jito, which was a previous airdrop. Jito pretty weak. So in order, Bonk weak, Whiff weak, Helium decent. What was the other one? Pith decent, Solana itself decent, Jito weak, and what else you got? Radium, okay, Orca, okay. So keep an eye on the Solana ecosystem. As I said, my plan is just to trade JUP because that's where the volume is going to be. Everyone's talking about JUP, all the Solana community. Everyone's hyper focused on JUP itself. So I expect JUP to if you airdrop $1 billion worth of tokens, which is what they're doing, you airdrop $1 billion worth of tokens out of nothing. People have to buy and sell those, right? It doesn't. Those tokens, when they're launched, they are worthless. But if somebody then buys them and then sells them and buys them and sells them and it stays at 66 cents, that means that money has to come from somewhere. It has to come from Solana or else Solana alts, or people have to bridge over, whatever. That it doesn't come from thin air. That's why these big airdrops, you can see them suck liquidity out as people want to chase the new shiny thing. The most obvious detriment that will have is on other Solana alts. So my advice would be just avoid Solana alts outside of like something like Helium, which has a really good chart, and if it continues to be strong, then focus on Helium. But in general, I think you want to watch Solana versus JUP. So you want to look at the Sol JUP chart, which you can just do once Jupiter launches. It's not on TradingView yet. Once it launches, you can just Sol/JUP and look into that price action and see. The typical thing you expect to see on these new launches is like what Jito did, where if you go Jito divided by Sol, you can see the relative strength of them both, and you can see that it launched with its hype, and then ever since it's been down only. Very, very common. Gets hype for a day or two, then everyone just starts to sell their Jito into Solana, and down it goes. So focus more on that relative strength against Solana rather than just a straight US dollar value. And then we'll see. Look, I think I'm not bullish on Jupiter for the next month. I think that we've had Jito, we've had Pith, we've had all these airdrops, we've had the bonk explosion of memes, we've had WIF, we've had Solana do well itself. This is super, super, super hyped, and everyone's hyper focused on this airdrop. And I think that it's not going to be the odds of it being a big winning runner right from day one are, I would say, pretty low, but I could be wrong. Maybe the market's going to come in and just bid Jupiter super high. I don't know. I'm going to trade it both ways, right? Depending on the price action, but that's going to be very much like low time frame. 1 hour chart, 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, and that's no indication about what I think of Jupiter. I just think that when these new launches happen, there's inefficiencies. It allows the market, the market gives us opportunities to make some easy money at the beginning. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do know what patterns I'm looking out for. Typical, launch pattern. I personally just think that this next airdrop will be the same as previous ones unless something tells me otherwise. So what would that be? It will get botted extremely hard on the way up. So it'll launch at a super high price. It'll sell off. There'll be some kind of bounce. And then eventually it'll bleed. Right? That's my initial expectation. That's just how I expect every airdrop to go. Doesn't mean it will, but we'll see. You also can see a Manta airdrop from last week, which is not on Solana, but offers a different view, where the botted launch got way up and it sold off and it didn't make new highs for a couple of days, right? Launched on Thursday. It was a week actually, sorry, where you might see this. This is like your worst case scenario if you're a JUP bull or even a JUP bear, because it just goes sideways. In that case, you just want to trade support to resistance along the way, right? You'd have your tight, choppy trading range where everyone gets bullish, bearish all the way. And in fact, what it's doing is just building a base to probably go a bit higher. After that, like you see, I think Manta's probably now finally getting onto the right side of the V and is going to head downwards. But I don't think Manta's done either. I think it might consolidate and go higher. A lot of these, like Manta and some of these other hyped up recent launches, they might suffer with JUP today because, again, there's only so much capital in the market. It's very PvP, and the players, the traders, they're going to take their attention away from that and take their attention away from Ondo, which is another one. And those will probably struggle in the short term. And once the Jupiter hype dies down, you might see some of these turning around and having nice runs, and I would say Manta could do the same. But my advice definitely would be, don't expect too much from Manta or like Ondo today, but if they can hold and start to break up again, you might see them push to new highs. So that's it for trade of the day. Very much focused on Jupiter airdrop. See how it goes. It drops at 4 p.m. UTC. That's 3 hours before the Fed meeting. So you also have to remember that traders are also going to be focused on Bitcoin and on the Fed meeting leading into that. So the first few hours of Jupiter trading will be interesting. Definitely one to keep an eye on. If you're a new trader, take notes. Just observe it. Right? There's always something interesting, always something valuable you can find from these new launches. So there we go. GM. See you later. 5 p.m. UTC live stream. So Jupiter will have launched by then, and I'll talk through it on the stream.